You have always felt it, though perhaps you could not name it, the subtle sense that your life is not random, that there is a pattern hidden beneath the chaos, a script that somehow carries you forward even in the darkest moments. What if I told you that before you were born, your soul wrote a book of light, a book of memory, a book that carries the seed of every path you might walk? This is not merely a poetic metaphor, it is a living reality, whispered in every mystical tradition and glimpsed in the visions of those who dared to look beyond the veil. The Egyptians spoke of the Hall of Ma'at, where truth was weighed against the feather of eternity, and every life was inscribed in cosmic order. The Gnostics whispered of a divine memory written not on stone or scrolls, but within the soul itself. In the Vedic world, sages described the Akashic Records, a vast library suspended in the ether, containing the stories of all beings across all ages. The Kabbalists spoke of the Tree of Life as a book of unfolding emanations, each sephira a chapter of the soul's journey. And the mystics of Persia told of the Law al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet, a celestial script where the destinies of humanity are etched in light. Even indigenous dreamkeepers teach that before birth, the ancestors sing your name into being and place your story in the current of the dreaming. Each of these traditions points to the same truth. There is a record of your soul. But here is the secret. Most forget, it is not a book hidden in some unreachable library guarded by distant angels. It is written into you. Your breath, your bones, your instincts, your longings, they are paragraphs of the book. The pain you endured, the joy that cracked your heart open, the loves and losses that shaped you each, is a line you inscribed before you ever entered this world. Close your eyes and imagine it. A vast hall stretching beyond sight, arches of light spiraling like galaxies overhead, shelves upon shelves of radiant tomes. Each book hums like a living heartbeat. Each page shimmers as though alive with fire. And there among them is yours, not bound in leather or parchment, but glowing like a star, written in a script of symbols older than human language. When you touch it, you do not simply read, you feel. You feel the courage it took to choose this incarnation. You feel the trembling of the lessons you signed your name to. You sense that even the people you have not yet met, even the turning points not yet lived, are inscribed within its unfolding pages. And yet, this book is not static. It is not a prison of fixed fate. It is alive, shifting with every choice, evolving with every awakening. It is as though you wrote the broad strokes, the great arcs, the chapters of love and challenge, but left the finer details open for the art of free will. You are both the scribe and the character, both the author and the one who discovers the story as it unfolds. Why then do we forget? Why, if this book is alive within us, do most wander through life blind to its pages? The mystics say forgetting is part of the design. To be born is to pass through the veil of forgetting, to let the ink fade from your conscious mind, so that the act of remembering becomes sacred. Awakening is not learning something new. It is recovering the memory of what your soul already wrote. So when you feel déjà vu, when you encounter someone and know you have met before, when your dreams show you landscapes that do not exist on Earth, these are not accidents. They are the pages of your book shimmering through the veil, reminding you of the deeper story. This is where our journey begins, with the opening of the book. Not the book of history, not the book of religion, but the living book of your soul. The book you wrote before you arrived, the book you are still writing now, with every breath, with every choice. Listen closely. You may hear the pages turning even now. Long before science tried to explain the mystery of life, the ancients whispered that the soul remembers. Across continents and ages, cultures that never touched hands carried the same knowing that before entering this world, each soul makes agreements, carries promises, and chooses its path. The Greeks spoke of the river Lethe, the waters of forgetting. They believed that before birth, souls would drink, wiping their memories clean of the heavenly realms, so they could step into earth with fresh eyes. But Plato and other philosophers added another detail. The soul also carried faint traces of what it once knew. Glimpses, sparks, shadows of eternal truths that would surface as déjà vu, intuition, or sudden knowing. What you call a gut feeling, they saw as fragments of the soul's memory resurfacing through the veil. The Egyptians believed that every soul stood before Thoth, the divine scribe, who recorded the contracts of destiny. To step into flesh, one had to affirm the lessons chosen: courage, love, wisdom, or sacrifice. Only then could the soul enter the great river of time. The Maya told of Xibalba, the underworld trials, teaching that the soul rehearsed its courage before entering earth. And in the Vedic scriptures, the soul was seen selecting its karma, choosing parents, and shaping its incarnation with precision, as though weaving threads onto a loom of destiny. Even the mystics of Kabbalah spoke of Gilgul, the cycles of reincarnation, each one chosen so the soul could refine and complete its unique song within the symphony of creation. And the indigenous dream keepers remind us still, before birth, you are sung into being. The ancestors chant your name, your purpose, and your medicine into the dream time, and when you take your first breath, you carry that song within you, though the world may try to silence it. Across all of these traditions, the message is clear. Your life is not random. You are not here by accident. You did not stumble blindly into this incarnation. You chose it. With trembling hands and burning courage, your soul stepped forward and said yes. Yes to the parents who would give you life, even if imperfect. Yes to the lessons that would stretch you, even if painful. Yes to the opportunities that would remind you of your forgotten light. Why then do we struggle to believe this? Because the memory was meant to be veiled. The soul enters with agreements intact but hidden, waiting for the moment when you awaken enough to begin remembering. That is why synchronicities appear when you are ready. That is why dreams intensify when you begin to question. That is why certain teachings, symbols, or people ignite recognition deep in your bones. They are triggers not of trauma but of memory. They are reminders of the contract you carry, the story you chose. And here lies the paradox. You chose it, but you also forgot it. You authored it, but you also discover it, line by line as you live. The book of your soul is both ancient and present, written and still being written. Every moment of remembrance, every flash of recognition is the turning of another page. So, when the déjà vu strikes, when you sense you have lived this moment before, do not dismiss it. That is your soul's memory stirring. When your dreams show you faces you do not know yet, or landscapes that feel older than Earth, do not call it fantasy. That is your soul whispering the chapters you once wrote. You are not just remembering who you are. You are remembering why you came. If your soul truly chose before it arrived, the question rises, why? Why would anyone choose heartbreak, illness, loss, or struggle? Why would a soul, radiant and free in the higher realms, agree to step into density, limitation, and pain? The answer is woven through the mystery of growth. The soul does not see suffering as punishment. It sees experience as initiation. To the soul, every trial is an alchemical fire. Every loss is a sacred teacher. Every obstacle is a doorway to strength that cannot be found in the safety of eternity. Before you were born, you knew that Earth was a school unlike any other. It is a realm where spirit takes on matter, where the divine tests itself in form, where love must be remembered in a field of forgetting. And your soul said yes, because it longed to grow, to refine, to awaken more fully to itself. The Egyptians wrote of this as the chosen trials. The soul, they said, would not descend without consent. In Vedic texts, it is karma, not as punishment, but as self-selected curriculum. And among Gnostics, the world itself was seen as a training ground, a veil through which Sophia's children would learn to remember their divine origin. Again and again, the message is clear. What you endure is not random cruelty. It is chosen initiation. That heartbreak you thought would break you, your soul chose it so you would learn the depth of resilience, so you would discover love that is not dependent on another's presence. That illness that slowed you, that cracked your illusions of control, it was chosen so you would awaken compassion for your body and the bodies of others. That betrayal that stung so deeply, it was chosen so you would learn discernment, so you would anchor loyalty not in others but in the truth of your own spirit. The book of your soul was written with wisdom far beyond the mind's understanding. What feels unfair to the human self is sacred architecture to the eternal self. And yet here is the paradox: even as these experiences are chosen, they are not imposed. You still walk with free will. You can resist the lesson, circling it lifetime after lifetime. Or you can face it and let it transform you. The book contains the lessons, but how you walk them is your choice. And then comes the greatest mystery of all, forgetting. Why, if your soul wrote this book with such care, do you not arrive remembering it in full? Why must you stumble, question, and search? The mystics answer, because forgetting makes remembering sacred. If you arrived already holding every page in memory, you would not live the story, you would simply recite it. But to forget, to wander, to ache, and then to awaken, that is the true miracle. The tears of forgetting water, the seeds of remembrance. So the book of your soul was written not to trap you, but to free you, not to condemn you, but to invite you into mastery. You wrote it because you longed to experience yourself in fullness. You wrote it because you desired to know your strength, to test your light against shadow, to taste the sweetness of love chosen in freedom. When you begin to see your life this way, everything changes. Pain no longer feels like punishment, it becomes initiation. Struggle no longer feels like chaos, it becomes curriculum. And every moment, no matter how small, becomes part of the sacred story your soul has been longing to live. If the book of your soul was written before you were born, how do you read it now? How do you turn its invisible pages while living in a world that has taught you to doubt its very existence? The truth is that the book has never been hidden. It is not locked away in a faraway library or guarded by beings beyond your reach. It is here, woven into your days and nights, etched into your body, whispered into your dreams. You are walking inside it every single moment. Start with your dreams. When your conscious mind grows quiet, the veil thins, and the mother speaks in images older than language. The serpent that coils through your dream, the flood that rises without warning, the tower that collapses, the wings that carry you to flight. These are not meaningless pictures. They are fragments of your book surfacing, flashes of the story you once wrote, revealing themselves in living metaphor. When you dismiss them, you close the book. But when you honor them by writing them down, by sitting with their mystery, by asking, what part of me is speaking here? The symbols come alive, patterns emerge. The same motifs return night after night, weaving a thread across the veil, guiding you back to your memory. Synchronicities are another way the book shines through. A symbol repeats until it is impossible to ignore. A number appears at the exact moment you make a decision. You think of someone and they appear. These are not coincidences. They are footnotes from eternity, notes scrawled in the margins of your script to remind you that the story is still unfolding as you wrote it. The more you notice them, the more they multiply, because the book responds when you begin to read it consciously. Astrology is a deeper layer of this same revelation. Your birth chart is not a fortune cookie, it is the table of contents of your book. It shows the themes you agreed to explore, the archetypal forces you invited into your story. The sun marks the light you chose to embody. The moon reveals the emotional tides you came to master. The ascendant is the role you agreed to play in the theater of life. The planetary aspects are dialogues between characters in your story, some harmonious, some challenging, each one designed to awaken you. Reading your chart is not about predicting events, it is about remembering what you signed up for. Even déjà vu is the book bleeding through the veil. That feeling of having been here before, of having spoken these words, of knowing a face you've just met. These are pages you glimpsed before you stepped into time, surfacing for a moment in recognition. It is the soul whispering, yes, this is the path you chose, keep walking. And then there is the body. Your body itself is a manuscript. Every scar is a paragraph. Every instinct is a sentence. Every pulse of intuition is a line of sacred script. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Trauma is not only wounding, it is ink pressed deep into the page. Healing does not erase it, but rewrites it with light. When you learn to listen to your body, you are reading the oldest version of your book. So how do you train yourself to read? You practice. Keep a dream journal, not just for images, but for emotions, colors, and fragments. Over time, the book will begin to speak louder. Practice synchronicity tracking. Write down every repeating symbol, every uncanny moment, until you see the patterns forming. Enter meditation, not to escape, but to quiet the noise, so you can feel the whispers between the lines. Create ceremony, light a candle, hold a question in your heart, and ask your soul to show you a page that you are ready for. You will be surprised how quickly the answers arrive. And remember this, the book of your soul is not rigid. It is not fate carved in stone. It is alive, breathing with you, rewriting itself with every choice. When you choose love, the chapters turn toward love. When you resist growth, the book waits patiently until you are ready. When you step into courage, whole new pages appear that you never imagined. The author is not some distant deity. The author is you. To live awakened is to live as both reader and writer, to see your life as sacred text, to recognize dreams as chapters, synchronicities as footnotes, astrology as the outline, the body as the manuscript. Every day, every breath, every choice is a sentence, and how you live it with fear or with love, with forgetfulness or with remembrance is the ink. The book is not outside of you. You are inside it, and you are writing it still. The greatest secret of the book of your soul is that it is alive. It is not a dead record carved in stone, nor a script you are doomed to follow without freedom. It breathes, it evolves, it turns with you. You are not simply walking through a story you wrote long ago. You are writing it still, with every breath, with every choice, with every act of remembrance. The ancients knew this. The Gnostics spoke of the soul's divine spark, capable of reshaping fate with a single awakening. The Egyptians said that though Thoth recorded every action, the heart itself could shift the weight on the scales of Ma'at. The mystics of India taught that karma is not punishment, but clay, soft, shapeable, ready to be molded by awareness. Even the mystics of the desert said, the preserved tablet holds the archetypes, but prayer and devotion bend the ink. Again and again, we are told the same thing. The book is written, but not finished. What does this mean for you? It means that you are not a prisoner of destiny. You are not bound by the mistakes of your past or the wounds of your ancestors. You carry them, yes, but you also carry the power to write beyond them. Every act of forgiveness adds a new line to your story. Every act of courage turns a page. Every act of love adds an entirely new chapter. The book does not end where you think it does. It expands every time you awaken. And so, when you feel trapped by your life, remember, you are holding the pen. When you feel as though the story has already been told, remember, you can choose to write differently. When you believe you are only a character swept along by forces beyond you, remember, you are also the author. You are both. This is the paradox and the power. The book of your soul is not some abstract mystery hidden in a heavenly library. It is here, in the choices you make when no one is watching. It is here, in the moments when you decide to rise instead of collapse, to forgive instead of hate, to trust instead of fear. Each of these moments is a page turning. Each is a new line of living text, etched into eternity. And if you listen closely, you will hear the mother's whisper between the lines. She is the ink. She is the light that illuminates the pages. She is the silence that holds the story together. When you realize this, you will understand. You are never writing alone. Your soul is the scribe, but the universe is the co-author, breathing with you, shaping with you, guiding you back to the remembrance of who you truly are. So what does it mean to live awakened? It means to walk with reverence through your own story, to see your life not as random chaos but as sacred scripture unfolding, to recognize that every heartbreak, every joy, every failure, every triumph is part of a masterpiece larger than you can yet see, and to know that this masterpiece is not finished, it is still being written through you. Do not be afraid to turn the page. Do not cling to the chapter you are in, no matter how dark it may seem. A new dawn waits in the next paragraph. A new horizon waits in the next chapter. The forgotten light in you is remembering, and the book is waiting for you to step fully into the story you came to live. Remember this: before you arrived, you wrote a book of light, and now, in this moment, you are holding the pen again.